Class 9. This video is in continuation with my previous videos about the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. Now in my previous videos, as I told you about the discovery of cell and invention of microscope. Today I am explaining you about these all points. These are cell theory, cell number, cell size, cell shapes. So one by one I will be explaining you about these all points. First will be cell theory. So as the invention of microscope was done by Leeuwenhoek and Robert Hooke both, so it was very easy to study cell under the microscope. In 1838, Schleiden, he said that the cell is the smallest unit of all living organisms. Later in 1839, Theodore Schwann, he added one point to this theory. He said that cell is the smallest unit, functional unit of all living organisms. Then again in 1858, Rudolf Virchow, he said that all living organisms, that means all cells, they arise from pre-existing cells. That means cell is not produced itself. That means it will be produced only if a cell is existing previously. So this was third point made by Virchow. So together these three scientists, they gave a theory which is known as cell theory. And three main points of cell theory are: number one, the cell is the smallest unit of structure of all living organisms. Second point, the cell is the unit of function of all living organisms. And all cells, they arise from pre-existing cells only. So this is known as cell theory. Now coming to cell number. That means how many cells are present in an organism. As you can see, there are two main terms, unicellular and multicellular. It means living organisms may be composed of only one cell, only single cell, like amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, yeast. They all are made up of one cell. So they all are known as unicellular organisms. Whereas some other organisms are made up of many cells and they are known as multicellular. So some organisms are single celled, made up of unicellular, and some are made up of many cells, millions of cells. The examples are the plants you see around, even human beings. We human beings are multicellular organisms because our body is composed of many cells. So this is about cell number. Next point is cell size. How small is the cell? So cell, as I have written here, cell, they vary from 0.3 micron to 17 centimeter. Now what is this micron? So micron is the unit of measurement, and 1 micron is equal to 1,000th part of 1 millimeter. So 1 micron is 1,000th part of 1 millimeter, and these cells are even smaller than that micron. So they vary from 0.3 micron. So smallest cell is 0.3 to 5 microns. You can also say it micrometer. And bacteria cells are the smallest cells, composed of 0.3 to 5 microns. And the largest cell is the egg of ostrich. Egg of ostrich. Ostrich is a bird, you all know. So egg of ostrich is the largest cell. So smallest is bacterium cell and largest is egg of ostrich, which is 17 centimeter across. Longest cell is the nerve cell, and nerve cell may be 1 meter long. So smallest, largest and longest. Coming to next point, that is cell shape. So cells are variously shaped. That means cells have different shapes. And why they have different shapes? Because they have to perform different functions. So according to functions they perform, they have different types of shapes. As you have already studied in junior classes, that RBCs, they are circular in shape. They are biconcave, and circular in shape. And because they have to move through narrow capillaries. Then WBCs, white blood cells, they are like amoeba. Amoeba means they have irregular shape, just like amoeba, and with pseudopodia, so that they can squeeze out through thin capillary wall. So they are amoeba-like. Nerve cells, they are very long, and they are thread-like structures, long because they have to send impulses. They have to send messages in the form of impulses from one part to the other. Then muscle cells, they are long, they can contract, or they can contract to pull or to squeeze the part to bring about various kinds of movements. Guard cells, where are guard cells? The stomata, you have learned stomata are minute pores in the leaves, mainly in the leaves. These stomata are composed of two guard cells. Now these guard cells in the leaves, they are bean shaped so that they can open and they can close the pore, and they can help in transpiration as well as movement of gases through them. So cell shape means cells, they have different types of shapes, and they have different types of shapes because they have to perform different functions. Now if the cells are very small, how it is useful? Cells, they have small size, and small size of cell, it is advantageous in two ways. Number one, the different regions of a cell. If a cell is very small in size, then different regions, different parts of a cell can communicate with each other if the cell size is small. Secondly, if the cell is very small in size, then it will be having large surface area. So these are two advantages of cells being small in size. In my next video, I will be telling you about structure of a cell.